if you want to guarantee that you get the CPTS, if you want to feel confident, I recommend to you that you actually do the full CPTS preparation path. Hack the box starting point. So people always are asking, like, where do I start? How do I start? Do hack the box starting point. You don't have to do all of them. Honestly, if you did just do the free ones, which I think is Meow, Fawn, Dancing, Redeemer, and then you did the tier 1, and you did these 3, Crocodile, you could do Responder, whatever, and then you, I don't even think I did any of these. You could do these machines if you so choose, and I think that'd be a good starting point as well. Another good starting point would be over the wire, doing bandits. This would be doing the entirety of bandit. That will make you click. You'll be really good at Linux, like using the command line. You'll be pretty good at, like, you'll understand, all you need to do when it comes to doing anything with your commands and stuff. Finding information about your commands, reading the manuals, whatever. Bandit is really good for that. So another thing is home college. There's 1,000,001 resources to learn all this kinds of this stuff. So if you go into the dojos and you see, like, okay, there's an entire thing about Linux that you could go through. There's also all of these different belts. There's a bunch of information, and it's all really good. I wish I did more of it, but I didn't. Yeah, so those are some areas in which you can start learning. You can also try and do Pico CTF. That is another, that is actually, like, where I started doing cybersecurity and just doing anything in general with CTFs. So Pico CTF is where I learned, just doing some CTF challenges and then joining CTFs. I think that really helps with the critical thinking part, and I think that level of critical thinking helps you actually get the CPTS. Now, how do you actually get the CPTS? For all the people who are, like, maybe 100% through the path or like 50% through the path, and they are maybe stuck a little bit because they're not sure, do I need to do pro labs? Do I need to do any extra stuff? Do I need to do more boxes? Do I need to do XYZ? Now, I think people get scared too easily. You can do the exam right after you do the full CPTS path. My only recommendation is, if you are going to do the exam right after just doing the path, do the CPTS track. If you want to do some boxes, do all of the CPTS track. If you want to go straight into CPTS, you can do half the track and get away with it. So I think Fluffy, Jeeves, Tricks, Postman, Tomb Watcher, Boiler, Administrator, Authority. These are the only ones that I needed to do. You could do all of them, and I'm sure it will help you a lot. These are the only ones that I did in order to pass the CPTS. Now, with that being said, grain of salt, or whatever, take it with a grain of salt, because I have done over 100 labs on Hack the Box. They're just not within this path. I recommend to you, if you want to guarantee that you get the CPTS, and if you want to feel confident, I recommend to you that you actually do the full CPTS preparation path. This whole thing, you should do it for sure. ippsec also has an entire list of machines. There's only a couple of machines that I would add on to it. One of them being monitored. Let's see. So this is OCP, and then where is this OS? Where is CPTS? Here's his unofficial CPTS prep. I would do the Reddish. I would do the Reddish box as well from ippsec's list, just to get comfortable with the environment. It might not help you. It might help you. Again, you need to get comfortable with what this type of environment will look like, and so doing some of these boxes would help. So from the CPTS preparation, the only 2 boxes that I would add on top of this is probably monitored and Reddish. So we'll search that up. Monitored. This machine right here. And then Reddish, which is also an ippsec's list. This is a Linux Insane. Oh my gosh. Is that correct? It is correct. Yeah. I would recommend just looking at Reddish. Again, you don't need to solve it, right? You don't need to solve it. I would just recommend like maybe just watching ippsec do it and just see. Also, like the pivots are good on it, so learning a few things there. I haven't done the box, as you can see. Like I haven't done the box. I literally just watched ippsec do it. So it's something that was nice to like just learn from and just look at. So yeah. As for the modules in the path, which ones would I do again? The modules that I would do that I've seen recommended, one of them is the crack map exec. I think this is a tier 3. Yeah, it is a tier 3. I've heard that this is good. I didn't do it myself. I just looked at the NXC documentation. If you look at the NXC documentation, you should be able to, or the netexec documentation, you should be able to get through most, if not everything, that you need to do. The other two things that I would look into is I would get Rusthound CE. So that is the community edition of Rusthound to get the Bloodhound data. And then I would also look into powerview.py. It's not going to work. Pi and their GitHub. I would look at this GitHub, and I would also look at Bloody AD. You need to know how to use Bloody AD. There's this little cheat sheet right here that is pretty good by this person, Serenton. And yeah, they basically go over all of the various Bloody AD commands. This is a good little cheat sheet. I'll put it in the link below as well. Now, let me think. Bloody AD is really good. You can download this with pipex. You can do pipex install and then get Bloody AD. Now let me just see. Your documentation is right here. You click wiki and then you can go to user guide, and the user guide will show you how to use Bloody AD and all of the different commands. You need to know how to use Bloody AD. Okay, there is no getting around it. Actually, I mean, there is getting around it. You don't have to know Bloody AD if you know powerview.py. This is another good tool. If you know how to use powerview, then powerview.py will be very useful for you as well. You also don't need Bloody AD. I think it's a good tool. I like it, so that's why I'm saying you should learn it. But yeah, powerview.py, you can definitely enumerate everything that you could possibly want with this tool. It has everything that you would need. So yeah, I would definitely take a look at this GitHub, learn how to use it, learn how to use your powerview commands that you learn in the in the module. You'll learn like powerview commands. Learn how to translate those Windows powerview commands into powerview.py. That will help you a lot. Okay, now let's go over one more thing: documentation, the report. The documenting and reporting, they do not go over sysreptor, and you need sysreptor. There's no getting around that. I think if you use, well, you don't have to use sysreptor. You could use whatever you want. But if you want to make reporting as easy as possible, I recommend you use sysreptor. And you also use sysreptor's templates for CPTS. Now, basically all you do is you install sysreptor using Docker. So you can do a Docker compose whatever and then up, and you will with the correct command, it's in their GitHub here. So we'll look at their GitHub and we'll look at their installation. So you can see you just do you spin up a Windows machine, or spin up a not a Windows machine. You spin up a Docker instance of Ubuntu or some kind of Linux machine, or you can just put it on your VM if you want, and you just quickly install Docker. You get these like runtime and OpenSSL, and then you simply create a Docker group, whatever. Then you install sysreptor. It's as simple as that. So the appendix in the CPTS report, it doesn't show it in the OSCP, but the appendix in the CPTS report is where you will find your triggers, so to speak, when you want to write, or when you should be writing while you're taking the exam, while you're doing all of the vulnerability testing. You want to be writing the exam as you go through, right? So let me think. You need your flags, you need your hosts, you need your whatever. It basically like it requires a bunch of documentation, and you can do all of that documentation as you are compromising the machines, basically. And so always be looking at the appendix here. Now, there's one more issue that I'm going to go over. And, well, actually, before I go over that issue, I also want to go over how to create these templates in here. So you can see there's SQL injection, there is XML entity stuff, all of this stuff. That's great. You're going to have to create your own templates within sysreptor as well. You need to learn how to do that because there's not going to be a template for every single vulnerability that you're going to find. For example, they're missing RCE. That's just one example. They're missing a bunch of stuff. So you need to be able to create the template. Now you can use whatever tool you want to create the template with. You can also just like create from this template and then create a new template from your template, you know, just like change out this name and then so on and so forth. There is an easy way to do that. I will not show you how to do it because I don't remember how to do it, to be honest. Let's see, render findings. No. I don't think it shows you here. Oh, it's here. If you go templates and then you do add, oh, oops. So you can't do it from their thingy, but basically you would do add here, and then you would add in another template such as SQL injection or like RCE, for example. And so I would show you in my sysreptor instance, but that sysreptor instance has the CPTS report in it, so I don't want to show it. Yeah. Okay. What else is there? Yeah, I think that is like everything that you need to get the CPTS in 2026 at least. The hardest flags are flag 1 and flag 8. That is one thing that has changed. You'll be fine. Do not stress. You don't need to do ProLabs. I recommend you do AEN. You can do ProLabs if you so wish. If you do the ProLabs, I recommend you do Dante, Zephyr, and Offshore. Offshore is overkill. Zephyr is probably overkill as well. Dante is fine for pivoting. And I recommend you write a report using sysreptor with when you do Dante or when you do AEN. So AEN is this very last module, attacking enterprise networks. Treat this like a practice exam. I would also go so far as to say, if you want, I would redo the CPTS preparation track, and I would treat this as the exam as well. I would also treat this as an exam environment. Basically, what I would do, you could take a Linux, so like Postman, for example, is probably like a Linux box. That could be the entry point, for example, right? It's some web email stuff, right? So you learn, you do that box first, and then you do the 80 machines and the Windows machines and whatever, and you just pretend that they're all chained together, and then you do a massive report on all 10 of these machines. Yeah, so you could also make this into an exam as well. I would do that. Like if I had to do it again, I would probably write a report like that. What I did personally was I went in completely blind. I never used sysreptor before. I never wrote a report for cybersecurity like penetration testing before, so went in blind and I got it done. So you should not have too many problems. It's not too hard to pick up. If you know how to read Markdown, it won't be too bad at all, right? So like if you look here, right, this is what it looks like in plain text. You could see like there is a couple of like things here that are like code blocks. It really is not that hard to read. Okay. I think that's basically it. That is basically it. That's how you would get the CPTS in 2026. Good luck. I hope you enjoyed, and take care. Bye-bye. Oh, maybe I should have done that again. I think that's how you were going to get the CPTS in 2026. Good luck. Take care. Bye-bye.